When this Cape Coral mom talks about her son's health,
no one should tell me
she's passionate,
how to raise my child,
even defensive.
And no one should make those medical decisions other than myself.
Because a lot of people and doctors don't agree with one of her parenting choices.
I want my child to be raised in the purest way possible.
Susan Cantalupo does not vaccinate her son anymore.
He is on the spectrum.
She stopped after he received the MMR vaccine.
So you believe that your son's autism came from that vaccine?
Absolutely.
Even though there's been dozens of studies and reports that have disproven that.
Autism equals vaccine injury.
In 2011, the Institute of Medicine studied 8 vaccines, including MMR. It found few health problems are caused by or clearly associated with vaccines. And a 2013 CDC study determined that vaccines are not associated with risk of autism.
So you don't agree with the CDC?
No, I don't.
Where do you get your information from?
I research a lot.
It's those kids that are at highest risk.
Dr. Michelle Hoffman says Susan and other anti-vaxxers are endangering other kids because of something called herd immunity.
Basically, what that means is that you need to have a certain threshold of children that are vaccinated in order for the whole community to be safe and not have outbreaks of whatever illness you're being vaccinated for.
And if we don't meet that threshold, which she says is about 95% of the population, children who can't fight off infections easily are in dangerous territory.
Certainly parents have rights to choose things, but when those choices affect other people and other children around them, I think that they need to think twice.
Let's look at statewide trends. In the 2007-2008 school year, 93.5% of kindergartners got vaccinated. 10 years later, the numbers are almost identical. But now, let's just look at the kindergartners who did not get vaccinated because of religious beliefs. In the 2007-2008 school year, there were 0.6% or 1,346 of them. 10 years later, that number jumped to 2.4% or 5,394 kindergartners not vaccinated because of religious beliefs.
I have a religious exemption. I also have a medical exemption for my son.
And when I asked her what her religious belief was,
religious to me and to other people can be spiritual.
In Florida, all a parent has to do to get a religious exemption is fill out a form and get it stamped by a county department of health. It's tougher to get a medical exemption because that form must be signed by a doctor.
I get really frustrated, I really do.
Fort Myers mom Rachel Bell is worried about a world in which unvaccinated children could put her 13-year-old son Jack at risk.
He was diagnosed with liver cancer, stage 4.
Her fear is not unfounded. A liver transplant saved Jack from cancer. But because of it,
he can't get any live vaccines.
And he has to take immunosuppressants for the rest of his life, which keeps his body from attacking his liver, but makes him more vulnerable to diseases and infections.
It's scary. It's very scary.
A few years ago, Jack had to be hospitalized after he got chickenpox from an unvaccinated classmate.
I felt bad for him because he didn't need to be there.
We can prevent those things from happening.
Dr. Hoffman agrees, saying it's cases like Jack's and the recent measles outbreak across the country that prove a difficult point.
In the year 2000, we were able to say that measles was essentially eradicated in the United States, and I think today we can no longer say that.
While the state wants 95% of all kindergartners vaccinated in public and private Lee County schools, only 94.1% of them were last year. In Collier, 93.8% were, and in Charlotte, 92.9% of them were vaccinated. Now, if you want to take a closer look, I compiled all of my data on the NBC2 app.